Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know show. I am Jim McPhee, and of course, right there in the studio is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Odos? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know show. I want to welcome you all. Make sure you wipe your feet. By meaning that means before you come in, hit that subscribe button for us. While you do so, hit the thumbs up as well. Any little bit helps. It does help our channel. We are starting to now gain a little bit of ground recently. We've gotten quite a few last week, new subscribers. So let's keep the train moving along here, guys.
Yeah, let's keep the train moving. Absolutely, Joe.
Got a great show. We got a great show, Jim.
We do.
Listen,
we have
just
nice
when you thought
here.
there was nothing to talk about, forget about listening or watching, these other like real pro shows that come up with stupid topics and things that make absolute no sense at all about football right now.
Yeah.
We got some news that you guys might be interested in, and it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. So again, this one kind of stems off of a post that a friend of mine put up on Facebook, and it started some conversations here. And on our last show for the Blindside Blitz, we talked about giving our top 5 quarterbacks, and that was a lot of fun too. And they were both a bit different too. And there's a lot of conversation to be had about this when you do rank quarterbacks, because everybody has their different opinions on how to do it. What are you looking at last year? Who's hot, who's not, and look at guys who have had like extended careers, like an Aaron Rodgers and stuff. It's like, but he's lost a step. And especially even you saw it last season to where now you're not even sure if he's going to be playing anymore. But I thought this was an intriguing kind of statement here. And you've been hearing it more from analysts on ESPN, like you said, in NFL.com. And it seems like this happens, like you said, it generates after a quarterback goes to the playoffs or wins a Super Bowl. And so now all of a sudden, where is he amongst the greats, or where is he amongst elite status now? Does this push him and elevate him over here? And it seems like for some people that now Jalen Hurts, after winning the Super Bowl, it has elevated him into a top 5 quarterback situation with some analysts. So I think this is a debatable question. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about it. I'm sure we'll be hearing from Eagles fans who are like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. You're out of your mind if you don't think so." But Joe, let's bring it up right here. What do you think so far?
Absolutely not. It's that simple. I mean, there's no way when you look at some of the quarterback play that's going on right now. You think of Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson. Even I know he's not like your prototypical type of pocket quarterback, that type of guy that can distribute the football everywhere, but he makes it all work. You know what I mean? He's definitely gotten better as a quarterback in the pocket as well. So I mean, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you can't really leave him out and what he's already accomplished. Yeah, down year last year, but who knows? Let's see what happens this year. Does he bounce back? So it's like no. I mean, you can try to debate it, but the thing is, and especially like, it's not that Hurts isn't consistent. He isn't, a guy you know, that you can win with. Of course you can win with him, but it's more about volume now. Like when you look at some of the players that like Joe Burrow, for example, like all these guys that we just named, or at least that I named, right? Like just a handful just to throw into the hat. All those guys have had better recent seasons than Jalen Hurts. And it's not because Jalen Hurts isn't or doesn't have the capability to. It's because he's not asked to do it. I mean, look at this past year when they signed Saquon Barkley, and I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it. Saquon Barkley is the reason why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I mean, what changed in 23 when they didn't have Barkley? They had DeAndre Swift. They had basically the same team. Okay, you could argue like, oh yeah, they got a couple of younger guys, like they brought in Cooper DeJean, and I get that.
Mhm.
And that does play a part in it for sure. But the team was basically the same, and they couldn't get it done. You add Saquon Barkley, now all of a sudden your offense also changed because of that. Because now instead of having to rely on Jalen Hurts a little bit more with Swift in the backfield, now you got Barkley in the backfield, and it was like, oh, we could just give him the ball and he's going to get positive yards almost every single snap. So with that all being said, that he kind of went away from having to put a little bit more on the plate of Jalen Hurts, having to ask him to throw a little bit more, reducing the role at
Mhm.
the same time for him, and then Barkley kind of took over the majority of the rest of it. So right now, I would say no. Jalen Hurts is not top 5, and he is top 10, but he's not
Mhm.
top 5. And could he get to top 5? Sure. I mean, we've seen it. We saw Mahomes, who everybody thought was the greatest thing, since the invention of the light bulb.
Mhm.
Um, Thought that he was gonna be a automatic Hall of Famer after year 2, you know what I mean? And now
Mhm.
this past season, we're noticing, wow, yeah, he didn't look so hot. So, hey, everybody has a bad year, everybody has a bad game. Hurts just isn't being simply put, not being asked to do enough to where you can kinda rank him with these other top 5 guys, saying that, yeah, he's proven that he can throw for over 70% completion percentage. He's proven that he threw over 4,500 yards and had high end, like 35 to 40 touchdowns to single digit interception ratio. Like, we
Mhm.
don't get that stat. Like, what he did last year was 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Pretty good ratio. But again, wasn't asked to be the gunslinger or have to throw a lot to kind of boost those numbers up there to where you can kind of make a case, statistically anyways, that he belongs up there.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean,
And
yeah,
mhm.
I'm just saying, like, for me, I know the conversation has been had out there with everybody saying complaining about Hurts not being there, but listen, just because your team, because let's face it, is as important as quarterback is to a team, it's a team game. It's the
Mhm.
ultimate team sport,
Mhm.
and by winning the Super Bowl does not increase your stature as a positional player above anybody just because your team won the Super Bowl.
Right, right, and again, he's not even coming off his best season, Joe. I mean, he had,
No,
248 completions and with, 361, overall attempts, still not
still a
even his
decent
most
completion
attempts. It's
percentage.
his it's his least amount of attempts too in his career if you don't count his rookie season where he didn't even start, he started 4 games. So that's it's called that one a wash. It's probably his worst.
Mhm,
Still most efficient completion, but if you're not making that many attempts and you're not doing, throwing it nonstop, there's chances are you're not going to turn it over as much. And again, only 18 touchdowns, yes, 5 picks, but still, just a year prior, like you talked about when he had Swift there, 23 touchdowns with 15 picks, a lot closer, isn't it? And then you saw it even
'cause he
last
had to
year
throw
too,
more.
to where I don't think even, it wasn't the fact that Swift was even worse. It seems like they kind of went away from him and almost even to prove a point that, maybe Hurts, can control this and be that quarterback and throw it. And he made mistakes, and it cost
Yeah,
him a lot. There was many games that we looked at not last season, the season before in
22.
2023 that we were scratching our head. It's like, listen, you're running effectively. Why all of a sudden are you not running with Swift anymore? Like, what's the deal there? So they pull the trigger. They get Saquon Barkley, and look at here. They revolve the offense all around the
Mhm,
running game, which opens it up for the pass to where Jalen Hurts excels the most, but again, wasn't asked to do a whole lot. And you see this happen with multiple quarterbacks to where they can't control the offense as
mhm.
well as some of these other field generals, like if you want to say that and stuff. I wouldn't say he's a game manager, but they kind
No,
of, if you get a good running back and you can balance that offense out and you put it all on him, you
right.
have amazing weapons all around you too in the offensive side and wide receivers. So much so that even Brown was even like, "Yo, I'm not even getting attempts enough here. I'm gonna whip out my book and start reading because now you're running all the time and he's not throwing, so I'm just gonna chill here." So you have that luxury now, and that only helps, I think, Jalen Hurts down the road, but still not coming off his best year, still kind of mediocre, but yes, accurate, and not really commanding, the offense. Yes, I like what I like about him is he's
Mhm,
calm, cool, collect. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Doesn't fold under pressure, so he has that. We've seen many quarterbacks who have great stats in their regular season and then get into the Super Bowl or the playoffs and fold like a lawn chair to pressure. I like that he doesn't do that, but still top 5, like you said, there's a lot more elite talent there. Joe,
Yeah,
let's go to the comments. What do we got here?
that's right. Know-it-alls. Jeffrey Domney chiming in and says, "Not a top 5, but definitely top 10." We can't really
Mhm.
disagree with you there on that one, Jeff. Also, old but familiar face, Mr. Zach Walker makes his appearance and just says, "Hey, everybody, I'm
He's
here."
here. He's
He
here.
is here, you
He's the
know.
one that created the post. So shout out to him for getting this going here.
And then when we got our boy John Turner, he says he was a top 3 quarterback his last year in college. Burrow and Lawrence were the other two. He's a winner. He wins probably the highest winning percentage of any quarterback since he's been in the league. Look it up. He said, "I'm no Eagles fan, but I'm no hater. 2 rings." See, here's the problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's mhm.
championship rings to me, it's a team thing. So let's stop kind of attaching that notion of like, oh, but he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
But he only
You know,
won the
and
Super Bowl once, by
that
the way.
that
Only won
you know,
once.
I'm just saying
Yeah, no,
for an
yeah, I get it.
example, like
Yep, yep.
making that tie, like, and that's the argument we should put him into the Hall of Fame, or that's the argument we should make him an MVP next year, or something like that.
Mhm.
To me,
Mhm.
that's a team stat. Like, let's throw that
Yes,
out of the
I
thing.
agree.
So, John, really do appreciate the comment, bro.
Mhm.
You're always bringing knowledge every time you hop on the show. Um, but and this is more about recent. Like, this guy recently is being dubbed as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL today. I don't see it yet. Like,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, he's definitely well above average for sure. He's good. He's a really good quarterback. But in my eyes, when I think of Jalen Hurts and how he plays and what is asked of him within the offense, he's not elite. He does make some nice plays. And don't get me wrong, he's got legs that he can be mobile.
Mhm.
He can make
Mhm.
some off-platform throws, all that good stuff. But just don't see him at top 5 just yet.
Mhm.
John also said, "Would you rather have a top whatever quarterback that doesn't deliver wins?" And here's the thing. Again, we're gonna go back to the team sport
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
I hate the term "he's a winner."
Mhm.
Absolutely hate it
Mhm.
because even guys that are coming out of college football, whether they play for Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Texas, Michigan, wherever, and everybody that says this one particular prospect, oh, he's a winner, whether he's playing quarterback, whether he's a wide receiver, whatever the case may be. He's a winner is not a stat. He's a winner is just a opinion. It's not an attribute that you can attach to the athlete and say, oh, well, this guy lifts 350, 12 times, but this guy's a winner. He doesn't lift as much, but he's a winner. So that should count, push him above the bar. So I just don't agree with that whole kind of saying, like, he's a winner. Prove it to me, you know? Prove to me on the football field how good you actually are. And
Mhm.
it is a team game, so the "he's a winner" thing kinda bothers me.
Yeah, and I
John
get
also
there
said go
too.
ahead.
Well, I
Go
was
ahead.
just say quick, winning, like you said, it's a team thing. We'll get to John's comment in a second here.
Yeah.
Um, and it's sort of like when you look at quarterbacks, when you try to gauge them, at least for me, I try to look at it as if, say, I'm a teacher and then I'm grading a student, right? A teacher
Mhm,
sets aside a platform of how they grade their students, right? They tell you right in the beginning of the year, this like classwork's going to be worth this much, homework is this much, testing is this much,
mhm.
right? And then so you know how much you're gauging by, and what your grade's going to be overall after that. And I think we got to look at quarterbacks the same type of way. And I think wins, it's almost going to be the same as if it's going to be graded as, say, classwork. Classwork, they know what you're doing there. It's not going to be spectacular to where they're like, oh man, he should get an A because, and be a lot of the grade because he's paying attention and he's doing the schoolwork while he's in front of me.
Mhm.
Most of the grade goes to where homework. What's he doing when I'm not looking? What's he doing here? What's he doing there? And I think judging a quarterback, you have to take it the same way where there's other tangibles. Like one, I think that is a plus that what John brings up in his comment where he says here, where he's cool as a cucumber, and his temperament under pressure is great and outstanding, which I agree with. And that's one plus towards that. But some of the other things that he is lacking, I think, is that standout thing. And when you talk about wins and winning, yeah, okay, but you do have a lot of talent around that team. How many times are we talking about the Eagles and Howie Roseman and what these guys are doing year to year with replenishing talent, but getting away of old talent, but then drafting again some more, like you said, drafting 2 bookend corners even too, just right after, last season, so just a solid team, and who led that team to wins. It was under the legs of Saquon Barkley. It wasn't like Jalen Hurts, like all of a sudden,
Putting the team on
400
his back
yards a
and
game.
taking
Yeah,
over.
I mean, and yes, and I understand that you could have game-winning drives. He could
Right.
do that, and he is, but he wasn't the one winning you games. If you talk about the Chiefs, if you talk about some other teams, say who's clutch in that clutch moment, who's going to go out and win you the games. It isn't like Travis Kelce is going to be, oh, he's the one that's going to step up and win you the game. No, it's Patrick Mahomes is the one that's going to win you the game. So, I mean, that's where I think we lie with this whole thing. And trust me, John, again, we like Jalen Hurts, right? We're just saying that top 5, there's a class system or a tier system with these guys where it's you could see the difference, and he's just not there yet. And the numbers kind of support that claim.
Yeah, and it's not to say that he can't get there.
Right.
Not to say that he
Not to
can't
say they're not going to win another
continue
Super
to
Bowl.
grow and move up the ladder, and then maybe we have this debate not after this year. Maybe the debate isn't going to happen until 2 years from now, where we can say Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. But there's a lot of variables that go into it. You look at that
Mhm.
team, like you mentioned, roster top to bottom is elite. It's like they don't really have many, if any, holes on that team.
Mhm.
And when you have a really good team from top to bottom on both sides of the ball, it's hard for you to lose. You know what I mean? It just really is. Like you're seen as the best team, or at least the best roster at the moment right now for this upcoming season, and rightfully so. You got to beat them now. They got a target on their back. They're the winners. So um, we'll see how it works, how it goes forward. Because as long as Barkley's there, there's no more pressure on Jalen Hurts. All the pressure is on Saquon Barkley to consistently perform and stay healthy. And if he can do those things, then they won't have to ask Hurts to be the top 5 quarterback in the NFL. They don't have to, put that pressure on him to, you know what, you need to step your game up even more. You got
Mhm.
to become we want you to become that elite guy, the guy that's going to be everything to our offense. Right now it's Barkley.
Right.
Could change maybe in the near future, but as of right now, as we're having this talk, because we know that there's been a lot of conversations being had with fans out there about Hurts being top 5 or not, but it's not right now. Top 5,
Right.
not right now.
Right. And let me tell you, just even from experience, even too, with Eli Manning, he was never a top 5 quarterback, but I liked having him on the team because I felt like he gave us a shot. And if we had enough weapons around him, that we could win. And with that defense,
Could
and we
make every
did, we
throw.
won 2. Yeah, he still could throw. And that's what I mean. I mean, he had everything. He wasn't a game
Right.
manager, but I'm just saying, when you have a team like you do, I would love to have like a Jalen Hurts, even with the Giants right now,
Mhm.
get some people around you and you can win with a good quarterback. You don't need,
Yeah.
because what John's talking about, you can say you have an elite talent quarterback out there,
Mhm.
but then if you don't have anybody you're throwing it to, then you kind of got like what you got with Josh Allen a little bit, who I think, for my opinion, is top 5, but maybe near the latter. And he's trying to do a lot on his own, to where that is a good thing, but then also a bad thing, because he does
Mhm.
create some bonehead mistakes and some turnovers,
But
which
that's the thing
Jalen
too.
Hurts doesn't do.
But that's the thing too, is the
Mhm,
fact that it's a team sport, ladies and gentlemen. We
mhm.
can keep trying to debate this and say, "Oh,
Right,
well, he
right.
has all the like Joe Burrow. He's got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase." Yeah, you're right, but he doesn't have a stellar offensive line, and they still make it work.
Mhm,
We could go back to the days of Tom Brady in his prime with the New England Patriots when he first started to blow up onto the scene and was starting to carve up defenses left and right. He didn't have the best receivers, but he had a stellar offensive line.
mhm,
But he made the receivers better than what they probably would have been on any other roster.
mhm.
And or you go the other direction where you got your quarterback, got a stellar offensive line, you got all the weapons in the world, and that's the reason why he's so good. It could
Right.
be, right? Like,
Mhm,
so let's just say what it is. Like right now, stamp it. Jalen Hurts
mhm,
is not currently a top five
mhm.
quarterback, and I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah.
think there's an argument out there that could tell me otherwise.
Right, right, and a time to kinda show you where he was, like we were talking about one of his other seasons where he had made his most attempts, but then created, he threw 16 touchdowns even,
Mhm.
and 6 interceptions, and over 3,000 something yards, but his receivers were Devonta Smith, Arcega Whiteside, and, um, Jalen Reagor.
That's pretty
So
bad.
yeah,
That's pretty bad.
exactly, right, and this is what you come up with, no offense, 16
And that
touchdowns, 6 picks.
and that right there, okay, with the personnel that was around him,
Mhm.
what he was able to accomplish with it. Great accomplishment, by the way. I mean, where are those guys today? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, they're not
right?
playing. Arcega Whiteside tried to, transfer to tight end for another team, and that didn't work out
Mhm.
either. So, um, but yeah, like, there's gonna be seasons where Hurts looks really good, like that season that you're talking about
Yeah.
with JJ Arcega Whiteside, with, Jalen Reagor. Those were his weapons at the time, and he had a better season. But the play that in order to get that top 5 status, you have to be considered at least elite for that season. Now, if you can
Mhm.
string them along with each other like 3, 4 seasons deep, now you can say, well, one of the best in the entire league, hands down. But we're
Mhm.
not we're not there yet with Jalen Hurts. Like, he's shown promise. He's definitely shown an uptick in performance for sure. But he hasn't had to just literally take over the team, and everybody's talking about Hurts nonstop.
Yeah.
Like, let's face it, storylines were about Barkley, not Jalen Hurts
Yeah,
last year.
right, and
So,
Barkley right now is on the cover of Madden even too,
yeah,
I mean, it's not
yeah.
Jalen Hurts, right?
So, I mean, it's like, I really don't understand the debate, honestly. Like, I know everybody, of course, anybody and everybody, if you're a fan of your team, you'd like to see your players rated higher than
Right.
where they currently are or whatever, but
Mhm.
it's reality. Like, right now, I don't Jalen Hurts is not better than Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
you can even look at some of the comeback from behind wins that
Right.
Baker Mayfield, accomplished last season,
Yeah.
and Jared Goff, laugh at that name as much as you want, but the dude is throwing numbers up. The dude
Mhm.
is killing it. Now, everybody's right to say that this upcoming season could be different because Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, is not there anymore. How much of that offense is going to be called differently because it will be with a different person. So you got to expect
Mhm.
that certain game situations are the right calls going to be made. That all works hand in hand with the quarterback and the execution. So that you got a point there. Let's see what he can do this year now that Ben Johnson isn't there.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and Joe Burrow. I can't believe Joe Burrow didn't get the MVP this past
Yeah.
season because the dude led the league in yards, passing yards, and touchdowns with a critically low interception ratio. And the dude doesn't even get brought up with the final vote. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get it, I get it. So, yeah. So there we go. There it is. Guys, let us know in the comments again. We love it when you
Absolutely.
guys are
Appreciate
out
the
there.
comments.
Appreciate you, John, and everybody out there. So, uh, Joe, I think I thought it would be a cool idea to kind of look at, some of the quarterbacks, some wide receivers, some running backs that happen to change teams, because we get to see this every offseason to where, no wide receiver or quarterback. You can't buy their jersey for their team even too, because you don't know how long they're even
Don't
going to
know.
stick with them. You
Yeah.
just don't know. You know what
You
I mean,
don't
right?
know.
Especially now.
Right.
I think there's a couple moves that happen to where I'm intrigued to whether they're going to maybe do better or the
Mhm.
same, or maybe
Mhm.
if they're going to take a tick back, just depending on situation or even where it is. So,
Okay.
what
So what are we
we
doing?
like to call this, our stock up or down, or buy and sell, stock buy and sell, Joe. So what we're going to do is going to take out a couple quarterbacks and a couple running backs and a couple wide receivers, and we're basically going to tell you whether we think they're stock, you should buy it because they're going to do well, or sell right now. So
And these are players that are newly signed to new
newly
teams.
to a
Like they're
different
on
team,
new teams,
new
everybody.
teams.
So it's
Yep.
not just a guy that we picked randomly off a roster and said, hey, buy or sell.
Yeah, buy or
So
sell. Yeah, exactly. Hey, what about this guy? What about this guy? So, yeah, so feel free to join along in the comments too. We really appreciate you guys out there doing that. So let's get it started. First of all, I've got Justin Fields signed as a free agent to the
mhm.
Jets. He used to play for the Steelers, played pretty well for them, was a winner too as well. And this is one difference too. If you want to bring up the fact that, hey, he's a winner and blah blah. Well, Justin Fields was winning, but what did their offense look like compared to when Russell Wilson came in? Russell Wilson still was winning, and then the offense and the ball was going further. But Justin Fields to the Jets. Maybe trying to start fresh again. I'm surprised that even Pittsburgh didn't try to keep him around, especially with what they're dealing with right now. But Joe, Justin Fields, what are you doing on stock for Justin? Are you going to buy or are you selling?
Well, first and foremost, I think it was absolutely asinine by the Pittsburgh Steelers to not sign either one of the
Either
quarterbacks.
one of them, right?
Like, just sign one of them so you're not in this predicament. But anyway, I digress. Off to the Jets, Justin Fields goes with new head coach Aaron Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody's saying out of OTAs, like, this guy's just electric. He's on fire. He's making all the throws with no D linemen chasing him or cornerbacks defending receivers. Um, there's light coverage, but still, when it really comes to like under the lights, now it means something. When everyone's fighting for their jobs in training camp, that's going to be right around the corner. Um, I gotta say, Justin Fields, I wasn't a huge fan, even though he went to Pittsburgh, even though he had a winning record. I think it was 4-2 before he ended up taking the bench. Um, And everybody was saying, "Why would you make a change? He's doing well." Well, the reason is because he can't get you over the hump. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: I'm buying the fact that he went to the Jets and the Jets signed him because they had no other option. They had to get somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes the most sense that he went to the Jets, one of the quarterback needy teams. They got their guy. They're going to work with him, and they're still going to look to draft a quarterback. Like Fields, even though he's young, let's face it, a lot of teams are asked this question every single year. The quarterback that you have on your roster, can you win a Super Bowl with him? And if the answer is no, they're still looking.
Mm-hmm.
So with Fields, the Jets are still looking. They know they have a veteran quarterback who's young, who they're going to work with. But at the same time, do you think Fields can win you a Super Bowl? No. The answer is no. He's had
Okay.
his time in Chicago. He's had plenty of opportunities in Chicago to hold on to that starting job. Didn't work out there. Didn't didn't work out in Pittsburgh. It was starting to work out, and then Pittsburgh didn't think much of him, so they just let him go.
Mm-hmm.
So I buy it for the fact that the acquisition for him to go to the Jets makes all the sense in the world because they needed somebody. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of him performing and getting you over the hump, I'd sell it all day because it's not the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So But what? So are you? So you're selling then?
It depends. Are we
Well, the thing
basing it
is,
off
well,
of him
basically,
going to the Jets or in that situation,
well, I think in this
or
situation
just
with
buying on the
that,
player?
buying on, well, not on the player, about the situation, and this they say it's upcoming season,
Well,
performance
situation
wise.
I wa performance wise, I'd sell. Like,
Yeah.
he's not going to be able to win you games and get you out of the gutter.
Hmm.
Um, as much as you might have been kind of, tricked into believing that, oh well, that 4-2 record that he had with Pittsburgh, that's what he's going to do here. We're going to be a winning team now all of a sudden.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't buy that.
Right. Okay. Well, so for me, I look at it as, again, he's going to the Jets that, like you said, they're not expecting much. They didn't put a whole lot of investment in it. So for me, when you're buying and selling and trading, you're looking to say, what can I get low that possibly can hit? If I hit this, this could be pretty good for me because I didn't invest a whole lot into it. And I think with what they've got going on, especially with Brees Hall in the backfield and stuff, they are lackluster in weapons. So I do see Garrett Wilson probably getting a lot of this, hopefully for them, and he generates like a relationship with him, and they get on the same page. But I feel like he can excel, and with the stock being low at him right now, I think I'm going to end up buying on Justin Fields. Not saying again he's going to turn this franchise around, but I think with him here at a low start right here, I think it's a good spot for him to buy into that his stock could get better here.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the thing though, is like it depends on how you decipher the move. Yeah, are
mhm.
we basing it off of what we think the player is going to do production wise with the new team? Or are we just saying the situation where he went to is gonna be good?
Jeffrey's in there. So you got something against Jeff, Joe?
Well,
Jeff Domini says, "Bro, I know you don't like me, but damn, pick on my Jets."
not picking on you, Josh, saying what it is.
Oh, nice, nice. And we've got Christian Dickinson in the house with us tonight, too. Jalen Hurts is the most overrated quarterback in the league.
Currently,
Uh,
yes. Currently. Is
Currently with that, I
everybody's
guess,
saying
possibly.
debating on top 5. It's sorry, he's not top 5.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. So shout out, keep the comments going. We definitely appreciate you guys out there. Yeah, there's a few other ones out there I think that have been overrated. All right, next for me here, another a quarterback that changed teams. We're doing stock, buy or sell. We've got Russell Wilson to the Jets in free agency. Again, they were talking
To the
about,
Giants.
or to the Giants, yeah, to the Giants rather.
I just
They were
wanted to clarify to all the
Yes,
know-it-alls.
that's right. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want them
We're sorry,
confused.
we got the Jets on the brain now. But going to the Giants, they were dancing around, maybe Aaron Rodgers, stuff like that. But Russell Wilson falls there. He finds a new team. He
Mhm.
did fairly well too. I mean, really well with the Steelers. And like you said, we're kind of surprised that the Steelers didn't hold on to one of those dudes,
One of
and
'em,
that they're
yeah.
really going into this season with Mason Rudolph. Um, or maybe we're
Sorry.
just waiting on bated breath for Aaron Rodgers, but Russell Wilson, I think, again, going into a pretty good situation with some young talent and the way he kind of um, has that moon ball going on too, and a deep threat. I'm wondering if that will open up, things for other players now too. There with the Giants too, like Jalen Hyatt as a deep threat, where he's kind of been just disappearing,
No,
since
he's
he's been
just not
drafted
being
here.
used.
Mhm. Right, right.
That's a coaching decision right there. So,
Hmm.
for Russell Wilson going to the Giants, I mean, I buy it. I mean, I buy it all day long. They didn't have an answer at quarterback, and now you got a veteran who has had the last couple of seasons has done pretty decent, So, um, I gotta say, like, Russell Wilson to the Giants. This is a dream scenario for the Giants. They finally get a veteran that they can bring in. Listen, he's not going to like light up the division in the NFC East or anything like that. But what he's going to do is he's going to be able to be a very very good manager for this Giants team. Let the playmakers make the plays. He's going to only do what's asked of him. He's not going to turn the ball over a lot. I mean, this guy is a professional. He's good and a great leader. I
Hmm.
can't wait to see what his next slogan is for his new team with the Giants is at the
Yeah.
end of interviews. But I buy the move. I buy the player. I think it's good for the Giants. Heading
Yeah.
in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree here too. I think it's a great move. I think both the Giants and um, it's a win-win for both of them all together here. And I like the quarterback room that they have in right now with Jameis Winston there and Jackson Dart. Excuse me.
Right
So there's
there.
not a whole lot of
So
pressure there on top of anything. So
exactly. Jackson Dart is the future Giants fans. I'm telling you
mhm,
right now, was my favorite quarterback coming out in this draft. And I think he can develop into a franchise starting quarterback for the Giants. I'm excited about the kid. I can't wait to see what he can do because he's already impressing in camp,
mhm,
um, or in OTAs anyway. But not about the plays that he's making. It's more about in the classroom, like working on the playbook, you know what I mean? Being able to do audibles and stuff. He's definitely getting more acclimated in that sense. So I'm excited for the Giants quarterback future as well.
We got the comment box up on here, so you guys can see it real time and how it's going down. So
That's
a
right.
couple people replying to Christian Dickinson. We got Charlie Jubry out there. Shout out to you, brother. And
What's
he
up,
says
Charlie?
doesn't take much to hand it off. Or this is what he said. He said
Yeah.
he's a winner. Christian says doesn't take much to hand it off to Saquon 25 times a game and watch him bust 2 to 3 50+ yard touchdowns in a game. And then it looks like there's a ghost account. I'm not sure if that's exactly verified. I doubt it. But it does say about Jalen Hurts. I've seen a couple of your likes and comments on my pages. You're just not a fan. Your family send me a follow request, direct message. So I love this. He's replying to Jeffrey too. So here we
Jalen
go. I
Hurts
loved
tuning
it.
into the show. Appreciate
Jalen
you.
Hurts out there. Absolutely. So
Appreciate you,
keep
Jalen.
the comments going.
Thanks for tuning
If it
in.
was really Jalen Hurts, you'd think he'd defend himself, more, right? But
He doesn't have to.
uh,
He's making millions.
right, yeah, exactly. He's like, whatever, man. Haters be haters. You hate
That's
us
right.
because you ain't us, right? So yeah, keep them coming. So people are still talking about that. We were just talking about him not being in the top 5, and people are still carrying on with that. Like the echoes, like the
Yeah.
tremors coming from that still.
Yeah.
So next up, another quarterback that has left his team for greener pastures for himself, and I mean greener as in even some more money. Sam Darnold going and leaving
Yeah.
the Minnesota Vikings and going to the Seattle Seahawks. And not looking so good so far in camps, but you're talking about it's easy to throw around and look good,
Mhm.
but now he's
Yeah.
looking a little rough. And it's Seattle. They've asked Mike McDonald, is he in danger of losing his job? He's like, no, this is a stupid question. You guys are stupid for asking it. Blah, 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 blah. It's preposterous. But I don't know, man, because we've seen this thing before with the Seahawks. And I know, we know a couple of insiders that we've talked to and had it on our show and our other show too that trust in this franchise and what they
Mhm.
do and stuff. But we've seen it before to where they liked, say, a Matt Flynn with Green Bay, and then they're like, oh, here we go, let's bring him in and then give him a deal. And then Russell Wilson looks good and he ends up winning his starting job. So they're like, oh, Matt Flynn, now we got to do something with this guy or whatever. Sam Darnold, he looked his best he's been last season. I get that and stuff. But really, for me, it was kind of buyer beware. If I'm another team, I'm like, yeah, okay, I want to see more just because when he finally did get to the playoffs and when there was pressure and things like that, he played terrible. He played horrible. And like when you said, when you bring in a quarterback, you get this quarterback in your room. Do you think this quarterback can win you a Super Bowl? And I don't think Sam Darnold can win you a Super Bowl here.
That may be so, but he's the quarterback now. You know what I mean? They got
No,
a
I
they
get
got a
that.
guy in a rookie in
Jalen Milrow,
Jalen
right?
Milrow that
Yeah.
has looked good in OTAs, but everybody's looking good in OTAs. So this kid has not faced a single NFL defense, has not really seen just how fast or how much faster the sport in the NFL is of football. So that brand of football is so much different. Um, but we'll see if he can handle it. We're going to see in the preseason games, or at least get a glimpse of Jalen Milrow, to where then we can really formulate a real opinion and see if he's ready to take over that starting job from Sam Darnold. But I gotta say, like, they brought Sam Darnold in for a reason. Whether they drafted a quarterback or not, Darnold is going to be the guy. Um, my only thing is if because the offensive system worked so well for him in Minnesota that if because I don't know off the top of my head right now, but if the Seattle Seahawks offense is completely different or called differently, it's definitely going to affect Sam Darnold in his performance, even though they have weapons, even though they have guys that they can get the ball to. Um, that's going to be the that to me right there is going to dictate how well Sam Darnold is going to perform this upcoming year. This could be a complete flop given the guy the amount of money that they did to come in and start. And if that's the case, then geez, it could be a bad thing for them in terms of signing, but it also could turn into a blessing in disguise to get Jalen Milroe into the lineup earlier than anticipated. So, um, with all that being said, like for Sam Darnold going to the Seahawks, I buy it. I mean, the guy had literally 2 bad games last year, and everybody thinks the guy sucks. And as
Well,
bad as they are, there was the offensive line was beat up at the time at the end of the year. Justin Jefferson was out of the lineup. Like there was a lot going wrong for them down the stretch as well. So um the team overall didn't play well either. So uh I'd say I buy Sam Darnold going to the Seahawks. I like the move for Seattle. It was interesting that Seattle came out of nowhere to make this signing too. When everybody thought it was Vegas, everybody thought Sam Darnold was going to someone else, maybe Pittsburgh, but all in all, ends up in Seattle. So I'm curious to see how it shakes out there.
yeah, I'm curious as well, just to see what goes down. But you brought it up there about having Justin Jefferson too, and in that team. But there's another team there, right there, that has a lot of talent. You have a great coach, and the defense was playing good as well. And at Seattle, it's a bit different. I mean, they even moved on from DK Metcalf and stuff. So basically, you're going to an aging Cooper Cup. You've got
Mhm.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, which they're looking to focus to be the guy here for them, which is
Yeah.
fine, unless they keep him in the slot. But still, he's going to be like a go-to guy for them.
Mhm.
And then Marquez Valdez Scantling. So a
Mhm.
totally different thing that, with a defensive minded coach too on top of it. I just
He's
think
not running the offense.
no, I don't. No shit. I mean, I get that, but I'm just saying the fact that um I think he's had his best season, I think, with the Vikings. So I don't think it's going to get better than that. And I think it's so for me, I'm selling. So I don't think he's going to excel. I don't think he's going to do great. He might still do okay, but just like when we talk about the top quarterback situations,
Mhm.
I think again, he's nowhere near a top 10. And it's about personnel around him. And right now he doesn't have the same type of personnel that he did with the Vikings. So I don't
Well,
see him
no,
excelling like he did. So
no,
I'm
it's
selling. I'm not
going to be
buying on this at
differently.
all. I'm saying it's like they invested their money in wrong, on this one. I think they just
Well, they
it's
didn't
not
pay a
going to work
high
out for
price
them.
tag for him
No, I
in
I
terms
get
of
it.
quarterbacks, so
Hmm.
it is a deal for them.
Hmm.
And as far as the weapons, Minnesota versus Seattle, like you can't even debate it, especially after getting rid of DK Metcalf. There's a
Hmm.
reason why they moved on from a couple of their high profile receivers because they have the guys that they want in place. Now, you don't have to have a DK Metcalf to win the game or to move down and score points. This offense will be different. It's going to be different than what Seahawk fans are accustomed to, but I really do believe that they're going to have a good plan in place. Obviously, for bringing Darnold in, that they're still going to be efficient in that area.
Hmm. Shout out to Paul Gifford out there. He said he missed the combo about Hurts, so he's upset about that.
You can
Uh,
rewatch it.
yeah, we'll go back a little bit, then catch up with the live feed. And then Charlie's replying to Christian again, and he says, again, we were winning 12 games prior to Saquon, getting there. Um, but you were again and again, but when though? I mean, a year or so before that, and then look before that when we were talking about when they had some of the wide receivers, personnel stuff, there was still even questions on Jalen Hurts play and how he was playing, whether they were even going to consider him still being the starter or whatnot. That's why when Doug Peterson was there and they kind of, you know, he had to make the difference or the decision and pull the trigger on whether they wanted to unload Wentz or not. There was still a debate on whether it was time. Say, hey, is it time now for Wentz to move on? Are we going to trust in Hurts? And he went in on it, and it's panned out for them, absolutely. And I get that. But as far as when you talk about top 5 again, you're talking about elite cream of the crop here, and he's just not there yet. We like him, God, like I said, we like him, but you can't put it all on wins and something else. Show me more. Show me more. So, all right, next up, we've got here when we're talking about stock, buying or selling, a guy who just played for Seattle, but now he plays for your Las Vegas Raiders, Geno Smith, Joe. Are you selling or are you buying on Geno Smith?
Well, being that the Raiders didn't have an answer at quarterback, I think this is pretty easy. I'm buying. I mean, yeah, like if they
Boom.
acquired
Hear that money.
anybody, even if they acquired Aaron Rodgers, I would buy this because they just needed help so badly in the quarterback room, and they get Geno Smith. Which, say what you want about him, I know I've been kind of critical, especially early in his career, about Geno Smith. His time with the Jets, I'm like, man, I don't know if this guy will ever pan out. I don't know if this guy has what it takes at this level. Goes to Seattle, learns under Russell Wilson for years, basically, gets his shot when they move on from Wilson, and doesn't look back. The guy is a franchise starting quarterback, has proven it time and time again, and is doing it at a high level. Now, Geno Smith, in my eyes, is not top 5, but he could
Mhm.
be somewhere in the mix for top 10, and how well he's
What
performed.
he's playing
Now,
now, yeah.
the only negative you can give Geno, the only one, because he's proven that he belongs, is that when he gets in the red zone. Now, I don't know if this is more back in Seattle, the offensive play calling wasn't that good, whatever the case may be, but it just seems like Geno Smith struggles once his offense gets into the red zone. That's the only negative I got on him. But
Mhm.
other than that, really good quarterback, has proven everybody wrong that doubted him, me included. And now he's with the Raiders. Raiders now have a legitimate veteran quarterback that they can rock with.
Yeah. Yeah, he's proven. I mean, that's the
Mhm.
thing you didn't have before, and that's why they're kind of juggling quarterbacks. I mean, he's proven. And hey, if to some of the point of some people, and like Christian, I guess too, Jimmy Garoppolo was in the house. He was a winner, right? Everybody's talking about, I'm
Oh
a
my
winner,
God, yeah,
this and that.
yeah.
But how did that pan out? You know what I'm
Train wreck.
saying? They paid him too. Like, here you go. Come on here. You come to
Oh,
Vegas because it was a big thing. I
yep.
mean, all the hookers were like, yeah, please, Jimmy, come to,
That's
Vegas.
right.
What I mean? Yeah, it was a big thing, right?
That's right.
Gotta get
Yeah.
him there. Gotta get him there. And he didn't
Yep.
do anything. So here you go. You're
Come
getting
to the
Geno
pink
Smith.
unicorn.
And I think it's kind of funny when you talk about, say, a Geno Smith, and we're talking about Baker Mayfield, we're talking about Sam Darnold, guys that were drafted by other teams and looked like busts, we'll say, kind of, or just
Mhm.
not getting anywhere to where the teams have moved on. And
Yeah,
now they're
right.
maturing, excelling, and actually turning into good quarterbacks.
How
I think
how
that's what makes
funny.
it, yeah, it's funny. And it kind of makes it even hard too on where you're gauging these guys because you saw the bad and now you're
Look
seeing the
at
good. And so
Yeah.
where do you put them,
Well,
in the tier
it's
system,
funny
right?
too because when you look at these quarterbacks that we've just talked about,
Hmm.
3 out of the 4 of them played for Seattle. Got
Yeah.
they got drafted. They Sam, like Sam Darnold's now in there with Seattle.
Hmm.
Russell Wilson got drafted by the Seahawks.
Hmm.
Geno Smith came over from the Jets, played for Seattle. Fields was the only one
Yeah.
that didn't make the trip to Seattle, but man, it's kind of funny how you watch these careers for some of these guys. Um, Fields still has yet to put it all together, and he's still trying to figure it out. I mean, I think it's a little too late now at this point in his career to
Yeah.
be the guy. Um, but then you got some of these guys that turn into journeymen that for some reason have gone to a couple different teams, but they're still starting quarterbacks. It's just
Hmm.
weird to me how teams give up on some of these guys a
Right.
little too early.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And that's what it's funny. It shows you right there, right situation a lot of times, just to
Mhm.
what fits and certain fit with teams, you know. So next up here, we're gonna move away from quarterbacks now. We'll talk about a few running backs. One I'd like to bring up is Najee Harris. By herself with his situation, and you saw him kind of take a tick back a little bit here with the Steelers. Jalen Warren becoming a
Mhm.
bigger part of the offense and kind of more yardage per attempt for the Steelers. So I think that's why they kind of put him out there a bit more. It was kind of a
He's not
ground
even the
and pound
starter,
type
too.
of guy. Well, I get that now, but um just phasing him out a little bit too, so where he wasn't much of that offense anymore. So Najee Harris goes to the Chargers now, to where they like to run, but they have a pretty good backfield as well. You know, last year they did have J.K. Dobbins here, and they didn't decide to bring him back in here, but now they go get Najee. So where do you think now for him stock wise with the Chargers could be?
Interesting thing too is J.K. Dobbins is taking a visit with the Denver Broncos currently,
Right.
so,
Hmm.
that'll be interesting to see if he actually lands there in Denver. But for
Hmm.
Najee Harris, I view it a little bit differently with Pittsburgh. They didn't phase him out at all. In fact, he was, like, probably the power back, the go-to guy all season long. It came down to money. They didn't wanna spend any kind of high-end money on keeping a running back when they knew they could go into the draft and draft one this year, which happened to be super deep. So, that was the plan all along. For Najee Harris, still playing at a high level, I believe he's 28. He's gonna be 28 years old, still in his prime.
Hmm.
And for him to go to the Chargers, this is a team that runs. I mean,
Hmm.
heavy running team. It's a buy. I mean, to bring
Hmm.
him in, yes, they still heavily invested a first round pick on Marion Hampton, the new rookie, the new big man on campus for the Chargers in the backfield as well.
Hmm.
So I think the battle between the both of them is gonna be amazing. Like, they're definitely both getting used. You're not signing Najee Harris unless you plan on, you know, using him an awful lot. He's gonna be a big part of the offense, but Marion Hampton might eat some carries away as we get into the season and start to see the young kid blossom. But I like the move. I think Harris is definitely a buy.
Yeah, I'm going to buy two as well on top of this one too. I think it's a great fit, and I think he's going to excel too as well. And that's even going to even help, I think, Justin Herbert even some more, to where I think he had a really probably one of the best seasons of his career last season, to now kind of even step it up
Yeah,
this
when they went
next
to a
season. So,
balanced offense,
hmm, hmm,
not Jim Harbaugh's offense,
yeah.
but they when they went to a balanced offense, that offense for the Chargers just woke up. Like
Well,
they were
yeah, it was kind of almost like
so hard to stop.
yeah,
And
let's be comfortable running the ball and keep doing that, but you needed to score points. So they're like, hey, we got to score points now, you know. So,
when they made that change is the difference in Justin Herbert because they finally used him.
hmm, hmm. All right, we've got a old school know-it-all to an extent with us tonight, and
Okay.
it is Mr. Paul Matty.
What's going on, Paul? Welcome to the
What's up,
show, brother.
buddy? Greetings from Playa
Greetings.
Linda Beach.
There you go. Our guy down in Florida. He
Yep,
keeps it
yep,
locked
yep.
down the south.
All right, getting back to the Jalen Hurts
By
talk
the
too.
way,
Again, we love you guys chiming in. What's up,
that
Joe?
reminds me too. We got to give a shout out to, Pigskin Talk.
Mm.
Great group, great, Facebook group. Make sure you go check it out. Um tons of and other NFL fans there. Always great freaking content being dropped there as well. So, make sure you guys check that out. Pigskin
Mhm.
Talk.
Mhm. Jalen Hurts Doughboy says Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback when it comes to his legacy right now with a Super Bowl title, but I want to see Hurts being consistent with the passing. Um, I think
Sorry.
there's something in his comment that has truth, but it's not top 5 when it talks to legacy. I say now that he's got a Super Bowl ring, and say he wins more, right? So wins a
Mhm.
couple. He's in history. He won, but it's like the way it goes with the team. Like for me, Phil Simms. Phil Simms won Super Bowls with the Giants, but he's not a top. He was never a top 5 again, too, right? But
Mhm.
consistent, still performed when the pressure was on. But much like that, you know what I mean? So which again, he's one of the greatest Giants,
Yeah,
quarterbacks to play of all
right.
time. but he was never in that conversation.
Yeah,
Unless
Hurts,
Jalen
like,
Hurts turns it around. Yeah.
honestly, it's like Super Bowl wins don't count.
Mhm.
But they don't make
Right.
you a top 5
They don't.
quarterback.
Right.
That is a
Exactly.
team award. So, to me, when everybody brings that into discussion, it's like, okay, so what? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, is it that the quarterback that won the most Super Bowls with his team, Tom Brady, is he the best ever to throw the pigskin? I don't think so. You can say
Right.
he's one of the best,
One of the best.
but I don't.
Mhm.
The whole Super Bowl argument is ridiculous to me.
Right. Yeah, and even at least with Brady again, you can bring up a bunch of other bullet points to support your theory, though.
There's
Jalen
there's
Hurts, there's a
e
few, but
there's equipment managers currently that have Super Bowl rings, guys.
yeah,
Does
that's
anybody know
true.
this? Like, anybody that's on the staff gets a Super Bowl ring. So,
uh,
any
yeah, like
free agent, come
I
on.
was talking with a buddy too, and I said, I'm like, it's like Joe's buddy, Brian Hoyer. He's a multi-year Super Bowl champion. Is
Which
he
is
top
hilarious.
tier? Yeah, is he top tier quarterback
No,
material here? You
not
know what I
even
mean? He's got
close.
the rings, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But he doesn't have the stats to prove it and things like that either. Yeah, absolutely. So,
That's right.
Paul May says, "What's good, fellas? Man, a whole lot of stuff, man. We're super busy. We're hopefully getting some more subscribers after this show too as well. We
Yeah,
appreciate you guys out there in the
really do
comments.
appreciate
Subscribe
everybody.
to the show. And our other page too as well, Grumblings Media. We're getting very large with that one too. So we appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Support the show right there. Just hit the QR code. It's super easy. Just
Just hit
bang
it.
with your phone, man. Just
That'll
scan
work.
it right there. Just tap it,
If
and then that's
if
it.
if you tap on the screen, it'll
It's
still work.
just make it
Go
easy.
ahead.
That's right, man. Just so do that. But yeah, we're busy. Living large though, and we hope you're doing well as well there in Florida. Great weather there compared to what's been here in New York, man. It's been
It's
up
gonna
and down.
it's gonna get
Jesus.
hot down there, man. Let
Yeah.
me tell you, it's
Yeah,
getting
buddy.
summertime now.
Go
Like,
down there and visit again soon, man. I'm definitely thirsting to go down there. I haven't been down there in years. But all right, shout out to him, Paul Matty. Next, as we're talking about stock buy and sell, we're getting
yes,
into running backs again. I thought this one would be kind of interesting too because
I
of the
like it.
situation. Javonte Williams here
Sell it,
for the Cowboys.
sell, 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 and sell it
Oh my
again.
God, who the hell
I mean,
cares?
really, Peter, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the
That is one
Cowboys.
big pile of shit.
This is the problem. Last year, they couldn't afford to re-sign their own guy.
Yeah.
They had nobody in the backfield. Now you're gonna roll with Javonte Williams, who we've seen him get injured almost every single year since he was with Denver. And now you're going to the Dallas Cowboys hoping you can revitalize your career and stay healthy. Come
Mhm.
on, man. Like, this isn't gonna work. Like, the Cowboys yet again fail to get
Right.
a running back to help this offense. I get it. They've been trying to work on the offensive line and shoring that up, but they've waited too long with that too. So, now they're kind of trying to play catch up to everybody else because it seems like they've, slipped a couple times in that division. I understand Dak Prescott getting injured. I get all that, but now
Mhm.
he's healthy. Now he's back. Are the Cowboys going to be able to make up enough ground now with all these other teams getting so much better in the division as well? You already know the Eagles, but then you got Washington starting to step up. You got the Giants that have got now they have a veteran quarterback. They're kind of rebuilding both sides of the football, and they're more competitive now. They got some ballers on that team now. So is it enough to maybe kind of step on the heads of the Cowboys and maybe Dallas finishes last? Like,
Mhm.
it's kind of that intriguing. That division to me is gonna be very, very competitive like it usually is, but on another level now.
Right,
So,
but it seems like so many other teams in that division are stepping up and doing well, and the Cowboys are just scraping around and
well, they're
trying to figure
making
out
moves.
a
It's
little
just
bit, but
it's just the backfield. The
mhm.
offensive line, they've been making moves on. So,
Yeah, no, I get
kudos
that
to
there.
them for
Right.
recognizing that and doing it, but,
Mhm.
you know, you got CeeDee Lamb, now you trade for George Pickens, so I get you're adding to the weaponry there, but still the backfield is lackluster, to be
Right.
honest. And
Right.
then your
And where
defense, if your defense doesn't rise up, you got a pissed off Micah Parsons waiting for a new contract. That still hasn't happened, and there's going to be others to follow him. So, uh, Cowboys, I would just say I kind of went on a tangent there, but
No, I
Cowboys
get
for
it.
Javonte
Bring
Williams,
it
I'll
back in.
say you got to sell here.
No, selling right away. Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I'm kind of going to as well, because if you're looking what they had in the backfield last year,
A better
as
running
opposed
back.
to this year, yeah, like even Rico Dowdle's not there anymore. You keep
That's
Deuce
the guy that
Vaughn.
they couldn't afford.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that which is
And he
astronomical. I think
honestly,
that's
he's better.
astronomical. And you bring in Miles Sanders, an aging running
Honestly,
back
he's
who hasn't
better
done
than
much,
any of the backs they have.
hmm
He's better
Yeah.
than those guys. So I don't know what the Cowboys are doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's going to get any better, So I agree too. I'm going to go with sell on that one.
Mhm.
Sticking with the Cowboys, you brought up
Yeah.
his name, George
Yep.
Pickens here, wide receiver George Pickens,
Yep.
moving out of the Steelers, where you started to see his production kind of step up once Russell Wilson was in there, but
Mhm.
now again making a lot of complaints, making himself out there to where he's a poison in the locker room. Get him out of there. But also probably seeing maybe the writing on the wall with what's going on there with
There's no
Pittsburgh.
quarterback there.
Yeah. So I could go at least with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. I could get some balls thrown my way here. We've seen Brandon Cooks
Right.
have success here as well and stuff. So,
Right.
but then it kind of loaded up that wide receiver room here.
Yeah.
But so George Pickens, what do you think on his stock?
Yeah, you got Tolbert now, you got Pickens,
Hmm
and you got CD Lamb. That's a nice, wide and then you got
hmm
Turpin too.
Turpin
Turpin's
still.
also gonna
Yeah.
come in and be
hmm
a focal point of that offense. So you got a nice receiving core now. You know what I mean? They put it together, well done. I don't know how they could afford Pickens, but not Rico Dowdle, but whatever. Uh, but with
Well,
this
that's what's
move,
funny. He's
I
only here
mean,
till this year.
and that's the thing, right?
Hmm
It's a 1 year deal basically, and uh, how are they going to afford him after this? Like,
hmm
because you got to pay Micah Parsons. You're already kind of strapped. You're going to have to renegotiate a hell of a lot of contracts at the end of the year. But George Pickens, the move itself, I buy it all day long. He's a
hmm
very gifted receiver. He's a great, you know, um, great duo with CD Lamb. You got both of them are very physical wide receivers. Both have their playmaking ability, so that's nice. But Pickens, you got to wonder, can they keep his temperament level headed?
hmm
Can they? He's a little bit of a hothead. A little bit of,
hmm
if things aren't going right, he's going to let you know about it and create some problems. We've seen that already in Pittsburgh.
Right.
How well can they kind of maintain his composure throughout the season? And then who knows? Maybe at the end it's a little too much for them, and they just let him walk anyway.
hmm Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like, how is he playing second fiddle? I guess to his extent. I mean, we've seen
Mhm.
CeeDee Lamb still excel with Brandon Cooks there, but again, Cooks, aging receiver, still had some good enough speed to get some open looks away from guys, get some separation still. But so
Right.
this is an absolute step up from that with George Pickens, and like you brought up, big playability. We've seen the one-handed catches and things like that, so he can have that.
Yeah.
So that puts some of that pressure off of CeeDee Lamb here too,
Mhm.
and I think he will take some of those balls away from CeeDee Lamb that might have been targets for him and go over to him. So I think the same thing as well. I think I'm going to buy in on this one, because that's what I think.
It's a weapon.
It's a weapon. That's what the Cowboys are going to have to do, because they're not going to be able to effectively run the ball. So you got to air out, right? So I
Mhm.
think in this, you got these weapons here. Might as well play into it.
Now
So,
here's the other thing too. You have Brian Schottenheimer now going to
mhm,
be calling the plays, not Mike McCarthy anymore. Even though there's familiarity there, I
mhm,
get it. Like he's going to basically call the same offense. It's just a little bit different. So we'll see what happens in critical game situations, what he decides to do.
mhm. All right, next up here, we're sticking with wide receivers. DK Metcalf to the Steelers now. DK now switching from
Yes,
the
we're gonna.
Seahawks
Yeah,
over there. So,
we're moving these receivers around. DK Metcalf to the Steelers. I
yeah,
mean, this is a
it,
buy
it,
all
it,
day long. A guy
yeah.
that's still kind of like at the end of his prime, but he's still in it. Good player, dominating physical guy with speed, and he's been a difficult receiver to contend against in Seattle. So he's going to bring that physicality to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which kind of fits their profile a lot. You know what I mean? They like
Mhm.
those physical guys. So Metcalf playing receiver, it's going to make it easy. Give whatever quarterback they end up with an easy target to throw to. It's going to be, if it is Mason Rudolph, can he get the ball where he needs to? You know,
Right.
so
And that's the only
um,
question I have here with that, because it's a like I buy the move like you're
mhm,
talking about, but as far as value and what whether his stock and what his performance, what he's gonna be able to achieve this year, it
yeah.
all really does rely on that quarterback situation.
The
He's
thing that,
obviously going to
yeah,
be the number one target because
right,
besides that, you have what Calvin Austin and
Roman
then
Wilson.
Wilson, Fryer moves. You know the tight end's going to get some looks, but
I'm telling you, Roman Wilson right now is going to be a fantasy freaking nightmare.
all
That
right, there
dude's
you
going to
guys
get a
heard it there.
lot of attention.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just worried about that, and if that maybe kills his stock a little bit because we don't know who the quarterback is right now. So
Nobody right now, currently, really, honestly. Let's just say what
Drama
it is.
Llama in the house with us tonight. Holy, I never heard of that, but I love it. Drama
All
Llama,
right, Drama Llama. We
Drama
know
Llama.
him. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
been here before.
has he? Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't seen him in a while.
What's
Then
going on,
says
Drama?
WNF hat. Yes, that's right, man.
Yeah.
With the win, represent. Love it. Love this guy. If you guys haven't yet, check out NF. I ride all the way with that. Christian now finally responds to Charlie here.
Oh,
Finally respond. He had to
nice,
really
nice.
articulate a response here
Yeah,
and think
yeah.
about it before
I
he did
gotcha.
this.
Yeah.
Uh, but he says, Charlie, yeah, you won the first half of the season and then lost the locker room and didn't win a game the rest of the year. When he's talking about the prior last season. So still debating
That's in
the
the
Jalen
past,
Hurts
guys.
and
Come
yes,
on. Let's
yes,
get past that. Let's go.
right,
We're
right,
looking
right,
towards the
right.
future here.
Yeah, and like I said, Eagles fans will defend them. I get it, we get it. You know, when you're a fan of a team,
Yeah.
you know you want to support your guy and stuff, but you got to
Mhm.
be realistic too. On top of it, you know what you have.
Listen, I mean,
Like,
for those of you that haven't seen Jim and I's um, top
all right,
5 quarterbacks, now it's not an all-time thing. It's top 5 quarterbacks, like, just recent,
yeah,
because
currently right now,
that's what,
top five in the league.
it makes it fun. Make sure you guys check that out over at Grumblings Media, our other channel that we work with. Those guys over there, Blindside Blitz is the show.
Hmm.
Make sure you check out that show because you guys will be absolutely floored with some of our top 5 players that we have there for
I think
quarterback.
so. But again, it's all debatable. So we would love
Mhm.
for you guys to check that out and comment on it and hear your guys' situation and your response to it. All right. So we're doing buy, sell, stock. So I think with DK Metcalf, I'm worried about it. So I'm freaking out. I'm
I'm not
selling.
worried about it.
I'm
I'm not
selling.
worried
Unless
about it
Aaron
at all.
Rodgers is gonna, come
You
there
could have a
with the
kindergartner throw
ayahuasca.
him the ball, and he's gonna come down with it.
Which
So,
I get that. I get that. He's getting out muscle and stuff like that. And we have
at
seen that
first,
to where it makes the quarterback stats look even a little better because hey, who
yeah.
else am I gonna be able to throw it to? Oh, I got this, or I can rely on this guy. So bang, 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 bang.
At
So
first, with
but
I think in the beginning of the season, whoever's quarterbacking has to, I mean, unless it's Rodgers, if it is Rudolph, if it ends up being him, he's gonna have to prove to defenses that he can make the reads and throws
mhm,
on time to guys like Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin first.
yep.
Because we all know you gotta
Yeah.
expect it that DK
Yeah.
Metcalf's gonna be double teamed every week until
Right.
something else happens, right?
Hmm.
To where they actually have to change coverage. So
Yep.
that'll be the moment to see, you know, can whoever it is deliver? And if they do, then you'll start to see DK Metcalf's opportunities increase.
All right. So now I've got three more wide receivers. Then we're gonna wrap the show up here. But
Let's do it.
I thought this one would be kind of interesting too. Is De'Ami Brown to the Jags? You're now finding a different
Sell,
team. Sell. Yeah.
sell, selling, selling. This is another
Uh,
easy one to me.
yeah.
Dammy Brown. I think he's a talented receiver. He's nothing special, but he's a solid receiver in the NFL, and he finds a home with the Jaguars now. Okay, no more Christian Kirk there. He
Mm,
left.
mhm,
This is kind of basically his replacement. He's going to be seen as a
mhm.
possession guy, move the chains type of guy. So, but again, not special. So I think it's kind of like a bummer move, really.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
nothing exciting about it. So to me, it's a sell.
Yeah, and for them, that's the thing. It's like he didn't really perform a lot during the regular season. Had a couple games in the postseason for them, but if the Commanders willing to move on, trying to find a spot, I think here with the Jags and Trevor Lawrence. But again, they draft Travis Hunter. They've got Brian Thomas there too
By
as
the way,
well.
Travis
So I mean,
Hunter's got a long way to go how to run routes. Everybody.
yeah.
I
So
watched some film on him, and he's been electric on the defensive side. Like,
mhm,
he's been amazing at corner. When you ask him to
mhm,
play man, you're not getting away from the guy.
mhm.
Um, that's where I think he's going to be super special
Yeah,
in the NFL. Receiver, he's going to be involved, but I think he
he's going to
has
be
to
the corner
learn.
there.
He has to learn some details of the position to become a really good receiver. There's so
Mhm.
much to learn for him.
Right. Yeah. For me, it's sell too as well for De'Ami Brown because again, Jags
Yeah.
weird situation, teams not very good. They're looking to try and get better, but then we would need to see Trevor Lawrence, step up and kind
I've
of run
given up
QB
hope,
in the
Jim.
different side.
I've
Oh
given up
yeah, I
hope.
know. We got it. And we talked about that a little bit last night in the show too. Last night too. So all right, so two more. Devontae Adams going to the Rams again having an off year wanted got out of the Raiders goes to be reunited with Aaron Rodgers at the Jets. That did not turn out exactly like he had planned and foreseen either. So
No,
now he gets out of that one, and now he's with the Rams with
which
Matthew
Rams?
Stafford and that team and Sean McVay's offense. So you got to think you're buying on this one, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy on this one. Um, and I don't think there's no slight to Devontae Adams for last year's debacle in New
Mm-hmm.
York. Honestly, the offensive play calling was atrocious. The pass protection was terrible. And, say what you want about Rodgers, but he really didn't have a whole lot of chance, with the way things were going there and with the
Mm-hmm.
Jets. I think this is a win. This is a buy. I mean, it's a buy now.
Yep.
Don't wait until 2 minutes from now. Buy it now because
Yep.
the stock is rising on Devonta Adams with the Rams. I think he's yet again with a Hall of Fame type of quarterback
Yep.
who's getting it done. Even last season, even the season before that, the dude is just balling.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then now you team him up with Puka.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's an upgrade over Cooper Cup.
It
It's
is. Oh yeah.
100% an upgrade. Even at Devonta Adams' age, he's just a better receiver all around. So this just enhances the Rams offense. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree too. Like you saying the same thing. Upgrade absolutely can be on the field a lot longer. You know what I mean? He doesn't get chipped up and banged up every once in a while or
he's in
every couple of
phenomenal
games.
shape.
So yeah, so that's an absolute win here too. And he's got a shot to take it deep into the playoffs and potentially win that Super Bowl that he's been looking for.
Yep.
So I'm buying in on this one too as well. And then finally, this trade happened early on in the offseason, but Debo
Mhm.
Samuel to the Commanders and then Jaden Daniels and that team who looked really good last year. Super went to the playoffs to kind of surprise some people here too, especially with
Mhm.
how bad that offensive line was. But
Yeah.
making moves in the offseason and a good draft too as well. They got Debo there in the locker room with them too on that wide receiver core. So adding it to Terry McLaurin and company. Where do you see his stock going here with the Commanders?
I mean, honestly, it's a great ad. I mean, my only problem with this move is, are they using him as a typical wide receiver now? Because his role in San Fran was kind of like a dual threat. Like, he could run the ball out of the backfield, take the short passes and run with. Now he's still be able to do that, but the offense that Washington runs, it's not anywhere close to what San Fran does.
Right.
So, are they using him only in the slot and just having him play wide receiver? There's not going to be any jet sweeps to him or anything like that. So, it's an interesting move, and the writing was on the wall in San Fran, right? We saw this coming where they were going to eventually move on from Debo and his contract. So I like the move. I mean, the player. It's tough for me to buy or sell on this too because Debo gets injured.
Yeah.
And Debo's not he's not a spring chicken. He's like 29, 30 years old, something like that.
Mhm,
Just about
mhm.
the big 3-0. But if he can't stay on the field, then this is just a bogus, you know, bogus
Right,
stock in
right.
my opinion. I'm gonna have to sell on this one just because of the uncertainty of his
His
health,
health. Mhm.
and I'm really, really not sure how Washington is gonna use him, if they're gonna use him just as a receiver, which he can play just receiver. That's kind of what he is.
Mhm.
But if I just don't know if they're gonna be creative with him or not. So with the
Right.
uncertainty and the fact that of his health, I'm just gonna sell. I'm
Yep.
gonna play it safe
I
on
hear you
this
on
one.
that one. This one, I think, I'm gonna buy on this one. Just even though
Yeah.
we're looking at it, hey, it looks like damaged goods to me, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, he's had success. He's been to the Super Bowl multiple times. You have that
Mhm.
on on your belt too. I don't think he's going to be asked to do a whole lot like he was kind of asked.
Right,
You
he's
know, the
not gonna be the
49ers
focal
had
point of the
the
offense.
focal point. So
Yeah,
that helps him in potentially staying healthy. And
right.
with Cliff Kingsbury's offense, I think there is a spot for him to do some of those plays. But again, not called upon as much,
Yep.
not dependent on him. Because again, you do have Terry McLaurin and others there too. For that Jada Daniels has a reputation with and everything already, and on the same page with that. Debo's just an added little talent that he can break out every now and then. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm.
So I think it's a good situation. You buy something that's a little banged up, but I think will suit you well within this team and this offense and where you are with weapon wise. So I'm going to be buying on Debo
That's cool.
Samuel. So yep.
Yeah, I mean, I get it either way,
Right,
honestly.
right. And it's how, again, when you talk about buy, sell, and all this stuff here, stock, there's a bunch of different ways you could take it. It's obvious to be like, well, he's not going to have, 1,000 yard rushing or 1,000 yard receiving year, blah blah blah, or that's not okay. Yeah, maybe he won't and stuff, but I like the situation where he is, so I'm buying. I'm all in on this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so it is what
Yeah.
it is, and that's why we do these segments and have those all this kinds of fun conversations and stuff like that. So
What
we
it's all
appreciate
about.
you guys out there hanging with us here on a Wednesday night. I know it's getting late up here in the East Coast, but Joe, tell them how they can check out our show too and subscribe if they haven't yet. If you guys haven't paid attention to the QR codes I've been putting up and everything, but
How dare you guys, by the way, if you're not paying attention to the QR codes. That's all I have to say. But hey, listen, if you happen to miss the QR code or you don't want to scan it, whatever the case may be, really easy. Head over to YouTube for us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make
Mhm.
sure you hit the thumbs up. Share it to anybody you know that loves football talk. And we do really greatly appreciate all the support that you guys have given. We got some OG know-it-alls in this from day one that's still here. And this is when the season kicks off, it'll be our 8th season doing this. Having a blast with all you guys out
We
there.
did
Thanks
it.
for all
We
the
did it,
comments.
Joe.
Thanks for, all the questions. Thanks for being involved in the show. That's what this is all about, being interactive. Um, and just help us out here. Help us continue to grow. We're striving here. We're striving here. We're trying to make big things happen here. Want you guys to be a part of it.
Absolutely. So that's it for us, and we'll see you guys in the next one.